PC gamer. So I have a computer that I use for multiple things. Not just gaming, but also video editing and sound recording. Because I have my sound rig sort of just set up over there. Where I do all of my voice recording and voice acting.
What mic do you use?
That's a Rhodes NT98, I think. It's cool. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah,
but
I was doing a little bit of research of the microphones, and I'm surprised that people don't do research for microphones now.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Why would you not research microphones?
I don't know. I usually do my research on microphones. And when I come out, I'm usually the ones because I recently do a lot of interviews, like job interview, I'm trying to get a day job and stuff like that. And I usually prepare with my own podcasting mic, which is this mic, right? Which is like a ATR, like a dynamic microphone. I put it into I put it in with a USB XLR to USB kind of like inverter kind of thing, and I went in for an interview. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, like your sound is a lot better than the previous ones."
So I use this.
Okay.
Which is the Focusrite.
Okay. I got one, the 8 input, 6 input, 8 output, I think. The older one. But now I'm using like a PodTrack P4.
Yeah, I only really needed one input output sort of thing. So yeah.
But how much? Okay, like do you do research for the gig you do, or is it because you're the sound guy as well, or is it just because you're like, hey, you know what, I'm doing this for a job and stuff like that?
Oh, so I'm a voice artist. Like a professional voice artist. So I'm currently the voice of McDonald's here in New Zealand.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just picked up the voice of Fiji Water in America.
Okay. Yeah. But okay, how do you get? I suppose how do you start as a voice actor out and get those gigs then? I suppose when you walk out with the voice of with those voices, right? I suppose people recognize.
Yeah, people. Well, I mean, I start off with doing stand up, and then off the back of stand up got work through an agent. I actually got an agent as who sort of approached me and said, we want to represent you. And then the more work that I did as a stand up, the more I got as far as work through the agent went, because I was becoming more of a personality, I guess.
But do you do anything before stand up then?
I did lots before stand up. But none of it was entertainment related.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But okay, but do you have anything that's professional, like you're not flipping burgers, but it's more like a corporate job kind of thing? Like how old do you start doing stand up then?
So I was a private investigator.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah. I started off as a private investigator.
How does that work out? How the hell? Any juicy stories to tell?
Yes, but technically I'm still in a fiduciary relationship with my clients. So I can't really talk about them. I've just sent you a link for the ad that I did for Fiji Water.
This ancient aquifer is miraculous. Rain filters through hundreds of feet of volcanic rock before arriving here, protected from impurities. It's not just water, it's Fiji water.
I feel like okay, like this just means like I think they changed your voice quite a bit.
No, that's me making those changes to my voice. So that's me sitting there going, these clouds create rain that falls on ancient volcanic rock.
How far do you tap into your how far do you tap in your your roots and just go, okay, look, this is how it's gonna sound like?
It comes down to what the client wants. You see, that's the trick with being a voice artist, is being able to sort of modulate your voice to match what the client envisions for their ads. So for McDonald's, for example, they just wanted sort of warm and friendly, but also something slightly lower in the vocal register. So that when you say Big Mac, it sounds like something that's tasty, as opposed to Big Mac. You see, it's a very different experience that you're emoting.
But the letter sounds happy though. It sounds like a happier version of.
Sure. It sounds happy, but does it sound delicious?
How
want it to sound delicious?
Okay, yeah. Are there times where they just give you free reign of creative, like creative way of doing it, like you can do whatever you want?
No, not at all. No, the advertising company has a brief that they will have pitched to the client, and the client has said, yes, we like that idea. So they bring in the voice talent and they go, this is what we want, and we're auditioning for it. So you give us your best version of what we want, and then they'll go and have a chat with other people and go, give us your best version. And then they'll sit down with the client and they'll go, here are all of the best versions from all these different people. Which ones do you like? And then the client will go, I like that one and I like that one. And they go, okay, we'll play them both together. Which one out of these two do you like the most? And then the client will go, that one. And then hopefully it's me.
Oh, but do you pay royalties or do you pay like one off, like okay, it's a per project basis, you can use it, and
so you get paid for your time, which is usually about $300 an hour, and then you get paid per ad.
Okay, so what does that mean?
So if you're doing, say, a 15-second radio ad, then that might be another $300 for the ad, and then so you're being paid $300 for the hour for your time, and then $300 for recording the ad, and then you might get paid, say, another $600 to license your voice for 6 months.
Okay. So after that 6 months, they decided to bring it back.
After that 6 months, they'll either have a new campaign that they're trying, or that ad will have run its course. But in McDonald's case, they'll have a new burger that they want to promote. It's no longer about the Big Mac. We want to do crispy chicken fillet burgers, or they're major sponsors in a sporting event that's coming up. So, they'll rename it. I think here in New Zealand they sponsored the America's Cup. So they came out and said, yeah, so we want the sailors fillet of fish. We want the captain's crispy chicken, and and it was all stuff like that. So we had to make these sort of changes to the ads.
I just wonder, what are there any ridiculous ads that they have kind of like, why do they choose me?
There are, yes. Is the short answer. Yes, there are some ads that I sort of look at and go, well, this is bizarre. I did one not so long ago where they had me read for like a minute and a half, explaining sort of all this stuff, and not once, once I said the company name, and at the end of it, not even I knew what I was actually advertising. And then the ad came out on TV, and I'm looking at it, and by the end of it, I still didn't know what the company was trying to sell.
But do you know which company is it?
I know the name of the company, but I mean, I have no idea what they do, or what they're trying to sell, or what they're trying to promote. It's just me telling a story.
Do they do people like are they going for that for that direction? Like have you ever thought of the ad because go why like oh yeah, they are going for that direction. It's the artistic version of it, and then give you like a artistic story behind it, like how you
Oh,
would do in a
yeah.
film school.
Well, they all had to sell it to the client. The advertising companies. They all had to spin it to the client, and the client had to say yes. I mean, probably the most unusual one was being the voice of the villains in the Power Rangers movies.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
How okay, which Power Ranger movie did you got featured in, like as a villain?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember. It was a couple of years ago now, but they had me in there, and they said this is the villain. He's a construction sort of amalgam creature. So give it your best shot. So you kind of look at the character and the way that they move, and are they big, and therefore do you make them sound a little bit more sort of dim? It's like, oh, I'm going to smash you, Power Rangers, or are they slight and fast, and therefore a bit more? Do you want the voice to be a bit more quick-witted and have that evil sort of, yes, we will take the Power Rangers apart, won't we? Yes, we will kill them.
But do they? But I suppose you just do the voiceover. But you go and watch like the Power Rangers and
Oh
you
yeah,
go,
they put the scenes up on a screen in the recording booth, and then you try and match your voice to the movements, and yeah.
Did you watch Power Rangers before you do the movie?
Yeah, when I was a kid, the Power Rangers was big, man, when I was a kid. So yeah, I watched the Power Rangers. I'm a fan of Voltron, and all those old school cartoons, particularly Transformers. Man, when Transformers first came out, it's like, this is a message that goes out to all the Autobots hidden amongst the stars.
Okay, my first what do you call it? My first Transformer cartoon will be the one with Beast Wars, or the one that lasting more like a deeper impression.
Yeah, see, Beast Wars was like way down the track for me, man. I'm
like, yeah,
I'm a few years older than you.
I don't know. I love Beast Wars because it's so weird.
Yeah, that is weird. But I mean, the whole concept of Transformers in the first place. I mean, it really is an unexpected sort of smash hit for the guys that came up with the idea. Have we got a show for you? It's a cartoon, and it's about a truck that turns into a robot, and a robot that can turn into a truck. And what does he do? Well, he's fighting against the Decepticons, and he's a plane that can turn into a robot.
It's them. They are aliens.
Oh yeah, and they're all aliens. Yeah.
Because I remember like there's a few more that came out after that as well. Like there's a few cartoons that had similar vibe to it. There's Gear or something like that. It's like there are a few other series that also has the robot theme to it.
Oh, there's loads of robot-y type things. I think when the manga films started coming out, that was really it like every man and his dog had a robot at that point.
I don't know, like I don't know how the robot thing like keep going, like because it feels like the robot team like got like a huge chunk. Then after that you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that they got off as well. Like the whole sense of cartoon at that point of time like is so weird and stuff like that.
I mean, Thundercats blew me away.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
not only do they have like their own little sort of robots that can join together, much like Voltron, but they were half human, half cats that were steering them. And of course, they made a giant cat, and it's like, well, okay, and you've got a sword. How do you have like these giant robot things, but the best thing you can come up with to fight with is a sword? It's like, do you not have? Where's the freaking lasers? Where's the lasers?
Oh man. Okay, mine. I find Captain Planet the weirdest. Like they try to fit more morality into that. Like they try to fit like a eco kind of thing into that.
What is heart? What power is heart? I mean, is it Scott Pilgrim? Scott Pilgrim has unleashed the power of love. I mean, come on. All of the elements: fire, water, air, earth.
Oh
Heart. Heart? Really? Heart?
I believe they all ran out of like powers to use it to use into their to put it in there just to make sure that they seem like kind of like sell it to the kids.
You know, I actually really enjoyed the Rick and Morty episode where Morty was hanging out with the female version of Captain Planet, and they actually became boyfriend and girlfriend. And once she was freed from these kids who had the power to summon her, because he inadvertently went around and killed them all,
yeah.
so that she could stay. And then she started going nuts. You know, it's like, you're cutting down the rainforest. Die! I'm saving the planet. It's like, I don't think we can do that.
Oh, I love how it's spin it.
Oh, it's great. You know, there's so much cool stuff coming out, man. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, this is and I think it's all kind of grown from the Simpsons. You know, the Simpsons being a super irreverent animated sort of comedy series in prime time really laid the foundation for things like King of the Hill, Bob's Burgers, Rick and Morty, Final Space. You know, these great even Lower Decks to a certain extent is actually you know, I mean, you know, Family Guy and American Dad, such brilliant sort of concepts to be able to poke fun at what we would consider sort of societal norms and the establishment without it being sort of live action and therefore so much more offensive to people who are actually living in.
I think they got away so much, and I think it's because they got away so much. The quality of I don't know. I don't really like The Simpsons after a while later. It just went downhill.
Yeah, but you know, you think about how many seasons The Simpsons has been going for.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, how do you even come up with that volume of storylines for the same characters that apparently don't age?
Oh yeah.
You know, Grandpa's still kicking around. And I mean, he was 90 in season 1. I mean, he's 113 now.
but I just wonder how far can still Simpson can Simpson still be going? Can I suppose there's one day Simpson will just go it will not be relevant anymore.
I think they've done really well to sort of keep with the times. I think the Simpsons are kind of like the Beatles of the animated world, in that they keep sort of maintaining a level of sort of, you know, pop culture relevance. They keep changing because they keep bringing in new writers who are of the generation that's now watching. So I think they're really smart. Whereas you've got someone like Seth MacFarlane, who sort of started off. I think he started off at Disney, and then sort of progressed through to doing what he's doing now with Family Guy.
Family Guy. But I don't know. I could not get into Family Guy. I'm not sure whether it's because of the sense of humor that he tries to bring across in Family Guy, where it's so out of the world that it just kind of it just couldn't make sense into what he's trying to put out and stuff like that. I feel like that's suddenly I'm like he's just trying to be offensive because of being offensive.
You know what? Some people don't like cake, man. Some people don't like cake. I don't like red beans and ice cream, but there's millions of people out there that do. I can't drink bubble tea without going "Whoa" afterwards. So, but there's millions of people out there that love it. I'm just not one of those guys. Some people don't like Family Guy. That's fine. Some people don't like Rick and Morty. That's also fine. Some people don't want to get vaccinated. Well, I don't care.
But with so many cartoons around, right? Like with so many cartoons around, I don't know. I'm not a very I was being forced out of my cartoon phase for a very long time. It's only very recently where I went back in again. It was only like BoJack Horseman. And then I started going back again.
Yeah.
And
BoJack's great. BoJack's great, man. There's I have nothing bad to say about BoJack Horseman.
I thought they ended well as well. Like they know, okay, look, I feel like they found a sweet spot to end the show as well. Like if they went too far, if they went continue, I think
the main thing to take into account here is that we have come a long way since Gem and the Holograms.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah, we've come a long way since Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Which is still one of the most ridiculous names for a cartoon series I'm sort of ever heard of. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But it works, it works. And I think for me personally, being able to do the voice work as kind of like a supplementary sort of skill set to being a stand-up comic, it has helped immeasurably with just being able to keep busy during these lockdowns and stuff that we've been going through, because the industry has certainly changed quite considerably over the last couple of years.
It's kind of weird right now because I'm doing podcasting now where and while trying to do stand up at the site right now, right? And I don't know, it felt it felt like everything seems to go online right now because everyone is doing the same thing, but I'm not sure like how, and I still feel that live shows to plays a part, but you need to juggle both platforms as well.
I think that the situation that we're in now, there is a potential that we are going to be in this kind of environment again over the next few years, and that performing online to a camera may be a skill set that comedians who are used to performing just live on stage, we're going to have to get used to it. If we want to keep working the way that we're working and having that creative outlet to work as a stand-up comic, then we are going to have to figure out a way to make this work, as opposed to just the crowd work and the instantaneous feedback you get from a live audience.
I don't know though. Like I'm okay with this like being a show of its own. Like if you're telling me if it's a podcast, I'm okay with doing it. But if you're telling me I'm doing stand up on the camera, I have a hard time accepting that.
Well,
right?
I think we all have a hard time with it because it's not what we used to. That being said, I did a Zoom show a couple of nights ago with an act that was in New York and an act that was in Australia,
Ah,
and Nick Ratto, who was in Auckland, and I'm down here in Nelson. And the show that we delivered, we just did 15 minutes each, and I watched the other acts and I laughed like out loud, and my mic's on and my speakers are on, so I can hear them and I can laugh. They can hear me laughing through their speakers.
ah.
So, and we had this little row of people sort of down there along the bottom of the screen. And so we could actually, everybody had the cameras on. So while we're performing, we could see people laughing as well as hear people laughing. So, it you were still able to get that feedback. It just wasn't live and in person. And the show actually went really well. And the feedback that we got as a result of performing that way was that people hadn't realized how long it had been since they'd had a good belly laugh.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so it can be done. It's just a matter of finding a way to be comfortable with how it's being done now.
But I believe like to tell a joke is to tell a story, right? Just that we have a punchline at the end. You need to set, and one way to set up a joke is through emotions as well, like building up, and I have a hard time trying to build the tension. I have a hard time trying to build the emotions because you're looking through the screen, and I'm not sure how do you do that per se.
Well, you do that by focusing on your writing and your presentation, because I can tell you without shadow of a doubt here that if your story is well written enough and presented well enough, then regardless of whether someone's watching you online or watching you live in person, it's going to land. You've got to know your material, and you've got to like get to that joke as fast as you can. That joke, I could retell that joke in about 30 seconds.
I'm not curious now. I'm like, man, I like it. I like that it's 2 minutes because it's 2 minutes long. And the reason why I know it can reach 2 minutes long, 2 to 3 minutes long, it's because it takes up quite a long bit of my set, right? Like if I were to do 10 minutes, that's like 30% of my set.
Yeah, see, but the thing is, it doesn't need to be 2 minutes. And if it doesn't need to be 2 minutes, then why is it 2 minutes? It's like somebody says to you, here's pot noodle, all right? Pour boiling water on it, 2 minutes, and you can eat it. But if I said to you, here's pot noodle, pour boiling water on it, 30 seconds, who's going to be enjoying their meal fastest?
But what kind of meal will you be enjoying though? Like, would you want to have a meal that tastes better when
it's
2 minutes?
It's the same flavor and it's cooked to perfection. It's the same thing. Just one takes 2 minutes and the other takes 30 seconds. And this is what I'm saying about being comfortable with working on camera. Right? If you're working on camera, then you've got to be ruthless with trimming the fat from your jokes, so that all that you're delivering is the setups and the punchlines. There's no opportunity for you to sit there and go, and then I've got to tell you this other thing that happened. Because the other day, this is so funny, you're going to love this story. I was walking down the street, and when you're walking sometimes and your knee kind of gets a bit of a click in it. So that's what was happening. I'm walking along, I can feel my knee clicking, and I actually, before I tell you this, the reason why my knee was clicking, right, was because when I was a kid, I fell out of a tree and I bent my leg backwards, and it was really painful. But ever since then, my knee clicks. So now I'm walking down the street, just the other day, right, and my knee is clicking. And you've just wasted a minute and a half talking about something that has nothing to do with the joke. And of course, if you're part of a live audience, you can forgive that because it's all adding to the story, and you've got people either side of you. There's an energy in the room. But when you are alone in your office, much like how I am, right, you don't have that energy. You just have yourself. So you need to get that joke to that person as fast as humanly possible. So get that joke out, you know. There's like I came up with a gag the other day. The only advantage I can see for being an anti-vaxxer is that, hey, you don't have to worry about doing your Christmas shopping this year. Because you'll be dead. So if you don't want to get vaccinated, sweet boy, I'm all good with that, because it means there's less of a queue when it comes to shopping this Christmas.
But for me, because of this joke about COVID-19 as well, which goes like so the real victims of COVID-19 isn't the one who passed, right? The real victims of COVID-19 are the Make-A-Wish kids.
Okay.
And it felt short. They felt like, there's a lot more to add on to it. But just like,
yeah, because you haven't explained why it's the Make-A-Wish kids that are the ones who are the real victims.
Okay.
So why are they the real victims?
Like because can you like, okay, so it goes like so the real victims are those Make-A-Wish kids, because everyone, because there is no other humanly way to tell them God hates them, right? That go like, because they want, because can you just imagine like telling them, hey, you get to see Iron Man, and I'm not talking about Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. No, it's just a Iron Man. It's just a sad actor in a suit, actor as Iron Man. And then the pandemic happens. And they have to tell them, hey, you know what? You can't, like, they can't do it anymore.
Right. So all of that can be prefaced with the real victims of COVID-19 are Make-A-Wish kids, because even if they were to meet Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. can't even get in the country. So it's just some sad, lonely, middle-aged, out-of-work actor in a suit. Is there any other way that God can tell you how much he hates you? I don't think so.
I don't know. I remember,
it's shorter, it's faster. You've delivered the joke. You can move on to the next one. And that's a rule that you should be employing for on stage as well, as an economy of words, so that you're actually building your stories up to a crescendo, as opposed to sort of milling about down here and throwing a joke out and, that one landed. Let's throw another joke out that way, and sort of more milling around, just going, what are we going to talk about? What do you want to talk about? You don't know either, right? Well, let's talk about your girlfriend. Hello, girlfriend. It's a lot of waffle. Just get to the joke. Tell the jokes.
Okay.
Make them laugh.
I'll do that. It's just because there's this part of me. I just go like, okay, look, sometimes words are there to build our emotions as well, which I feel.
Sure. Yeah, if you're doing long form comedy, like Billy Connolly or Eddie Izzard, then sure, you're building up an emotional sort of mountain of sort of leading people up to the peak of that mountain, And then sort of going, you're gonna love the view. The view up here is fantastic. And then they get to the top, and there's the comedian standing there with their pants down, giving them a brown eye. It's like, I told you you'd enjoy the view. And this is the thing, they've followed them all the way up there, just going, oh, we're gonna love the view, Marjorie. We're gonna love the view. Yes, we're climbing all the way up to the top. We should be able to see all the way out to the ocean there. Yes. And they get up the top, and it's just the comedian with his bum out, and they're going, that's not the view we wanted. And the comedian's there going, well, it's the view you've got. Enjoy.
Oh, the amount of time wasted. Oh, it's so much fun. Hey, you guys got what you paid for, right? You're just a dumb guy. I don't know, because maybe I'm not sure, is it because comedy I watch like these days, like the comedy I grew up with, it goes like usually beat around the bush and keep growing and growing and growing.
Which comedy were you watching?
Stuart Lee.
Stuart. Really? Stuart Lee? Of course, Stuart Lee. But I mean, Stuart's like a master craftsman, man. He drills down on the minutia of whatever problem is put in front of him, and then comments on that, and then those comments sort of springboard into other comments about other things, and then he ties it all back into something that is usually societal in nature, which in turn has a tendency to make his comedy very meta. You know, it's meta comedy, where he's talking about stuff that should be funny, but that shouldn't be funny, but is actually quite funny, but mostly because of the way that he tells it. Like I actually know Stuart, and we've hung out a couple of times, and I've seen his show, and after seeing his show, I went and wrote a bit. Right, I wrote a bit that emulated his style. And my bit was about Moses freeing the children of Israel from Egypt. And the bit goes, so Moses, right, goes and sees the Pharaoh of Egypt, and he says, Pharaoh, let my people go. And the Pharaoh does, right? Ultimately, this big long palaver with being chased by armies and the parting of the Red Sea, and everybody drowns. And then Moses is leading the people of Israel through the desert of Canaan for 40 years. 40 years! Like, imagine you're 15 years old and you've been freed from Egypt, right? You've been, actually, let me just lower that down. Imagine you're 15 years old and you've been freed from Egypt, right? You're now following Moses through the desert for 40 years. 40 years! You're now 55 years old. You've probably been married. You've probably had kids. Your kids have gotten married. They've had kids. You know what that is? That's 3 generations of Jewish women looking at their husbands going, geez, why doesn't he just stop and ask directions? Why doesn't he? So, of course, it stands to reason that the Israelites, they're going to get a bit sort of antsy about following Moses around for 40 years, just sitting there going, yes, I'm not sure he knows where he's going. We're praying to God to lead us around. He's put Moses in charge, and he's leading us around by the nose for 40 years, and we haven't found Canaan. We haven't found the city of milk and honey. So what do? What does Moses do, right, when he discovers the people are about to revolt? He climbs up Mount Sinai, right, and they've built this golden calf, and they start worshipping the golden calf. So of course Moses has gone, ooh, I'm going to have to go and have a chat with God, or I'm going to lose control of the people. So he climbs Mount Sinai. Moses, the stonemason, climbs Mount Sinai, is away overnight, comes back down the mountain with 2 carved stone tablets, claiming to have spoken to God via a burning bush. Just think about that for a second. Moses, the stonemason, goes away overnight, comes back down a mountain with 2 carved stone tablets with commandments on them, claiming to have spoken to God via a burning bush. Moses, the stonemason. He's a stonemason. He masons stone. He carves and shapes stone. Goes up a mountain, which is, I'm pretty sure, made of stone. And then comes back down the mountains after staying overnight, comes back down the mountain with 2 carved stone tablets, claiming to have spoken to God. Like God is some pharmacist in the sky. That Moses has gone, hey, God, you know, these Jews, they're giving me such a headache. And God's gone, Moses, take these 2 tablets and talk to me in the morning.
They may think Moses is a very efficient stonemason.
But he is a stonemason, or he was a stonemason.
A very efficient one. He just covered 10 commandments, take
exactly.
1 to 10 and just...
But I mean, you know, that the comedy of a joke like that lies in the telling and the revelation of what is obvious and yet seemingly glossed over, like a lot of comedy is. Like one of the banes of my existence is trying to put a duvet inner in a duvet cover. I've done that and gotten lost inside, just been trapped inside a duvet cover for a day, trying to find my way out. You know what a duvet cover and a duvet inner is?
Nope.
No?
No.
So like a blanket that you put on your bed, a quilt.
Singapore's a very warm country. Just
Oh yeah, fair enough.
we don't have freaking quilt.
You just have a sheet. What do you sleep with? A palm frond. Just lying on bed with a palm frond. If it gets hot, you just sort of waft it up and down a wee bit, going, "Oh, that is so much better." Yes. Hey, this is nice, eh, la? This is nice, la.
Oh man, we are going. Our government just pushing us to go green. So I guess like the leaf is the leaf of a banana tree just works out very well.
Yeah, go green in Singapore.
Yeah. But I know like because I also grew up with a lot of storytellers, right? And I always think that those comics are which way much more entertaining to comedians now.
Well, the thing you have to take into account though is that these guys that you're watching, particularly Stuart Lee, Stuart spent years refining how to tell the jokes the way that he tells the jokes. And of course people like me, like you to a certain extent, like sort of, anyone who hasn't watched him progress over the years just sees him performing and thinks, wow, that's amazing, I'm going to go and do that as well. Or do something similar, that kind of style of material, but without the experience that he has gained, it tends to come across a wee bit boring and a wee bit flat. So you have to be able to, for that particular style, you have to be able to put in the work over time to develop your experience with an audience. And of course, in these modern times, working down the camera, that particular style of comedy isn't going to work.
Yeah, but because I'm just curious about like comics like who does talk. I'm not talking about Stuart Lee right now, but comics who just do primarily storytelling, right? There's this comic called Christopher Titus who does storytelling,
Yep.
jokes as well.
Yep.
So
I know of Christopher Titus.
yeah,
I don't know him personally, but because he had a show on TV a wee while back called Titus.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I and kind of like watch him like doing like live show, and I kind of want to spend time to watch his live his Facebook stream shows as well.
Mhm.
So it kind of like just want to see how storytelling can bring to across the both platforms as well, because he has long sets as well.
Yep.
So I'm just curious about like how things work out that way as well, rather than maybe because I could imagine like even before COVID-19 happens, or even before the whole pandemic happens, right?
Mm.
It feels like a lot of I also see a lot of comics who does like short jokes, short setup punchline jokes. That's built into a longer set, rather than just like a elaborate storytelling set. Like one joke can last at least 5 minutes.
See, whereas what I do is I tell one story, and that one story will take me 45 minutes to an hour to tell. And I will have jokes peppered the whole way through that story.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I construct my sets is that each of my sets has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I write it like a movie script.
But how do you do it though?
Material, man. I have all of my material written out, and sometimes I'll have it up on post-it notes. I'll have just the title of the joke, and then I will work out a story using the material that I've got, and I will literally go, well, that's an introduction joke. I'll put that there, and that's an introduction joke, and that's a situational joke about where I was and what I was thinking at that point in time, and I think that's going to tie in to be sort of this joke here, which is kind of the opposite thinking of that. So if I start with this mindset over here and then finish with another mindset over here, then everything else in the middle is why I've changed my mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I start with this belief here. I believe in God. And then all of this stuff happens, and now I'm not so sure. So it's one story. And that's just an example, right? With my show, one night with the King, it was the story of me living in New Zealand, wanting to become a better comedian, traveling the world, only to discover that everything I was looking for was right here at home. You know, everywhere I went reminded me of being at home. So and yet I had this mindset when I was dreaming of traveling overseas. I had this mindset of New Zealand's too small. You know, this it's not enough. There's not enough here. I dream too big for this country. I have to go. And then as soon as I left, everywhere I went, it's like, wow, that looks a lot like the plains, sort of. It's like Taranaki, sort of this area here, and this Lake District in the UK that reminds me a lot of the Waikato. Yeah, and look at the mountains here in Switzerland. Gosh, that looks so much like the Southern Alps when you're staring back at them from Christchurch. You know, it's everywhere I went just reminded me of home.
Okay, I'm just curious about how far did you go with that story, because it feels like you have jokes written out, then you have the story. So it's like, okay, do you change your jokes? Do you I suppose that you take out a few jokes that wasn't there and that could not fit into that story, and have to write a more fictional story to tie them all together?
You know, a lot of the time, like if I grab one of my notebooks here. So in my notebooks, my joke books, I actually have, and I don't know if you can see that. There we go. So I have all of my jokes written out and then tabbed under different topics.
Oh.
Right. So this is one-liners, and then the next one here is, what is that one? Race, hecklers, special days, etc., etc. Right. It's all mapped out, and I know it's probably backwards there for you guys. So all of my jokes are already lumped together by category. So not only in that book, but also in this one, it's the same thing, right? All of my jokes, I always categorize my jokes. So that makes it easier for me when constructing sets. Is, you know, do I want to talk about the race situation in New Zealand being the primary catalyst for me wanting to leave New Zealand and go and explore around the world? Or, you know, do I once I'm in the UK, do I talk about being a stranger in a strange land? You know, do I talk about my that time I was in Singapore and trying to hail a cab, and I learned that you have to hail a cab like this. You have to hail a cab like this. If you want to call a cab, you have to hail a cab like this. And I didn't, right? I went like that to hail a cab. And the problem was that there was a group of German tourists who were sort of in front of me, and you know,
you're trying to hail a cab, not a sick.
And of course, I was standing there. These guys are like within earshot of me, and I'm standing there going, "Hello, hello, hello, hello." And of course, these Germans turned around and they saw what I was doing, and they thought that I was, you know, "Hello, yes, hello, very nice to see you. Do you have your papers?" So of course, you know, they got very upset with me because they thought I was mocking them for being German.
Oh man, it's a weird thing. It's like because it feels okay. I'm going on a tangent here, but it feels so weird. Because recently I just picked up someone from Europe, right? I can hear it's kind of like an Eastern Europe kind of like accent to it, okay. Where the guy just suddenly become very racist because I'm like an Uber driver here, yeah, right? And I was like, hey, you know what? And he was like, hey, can you change like venue, because it's just a left turn instead of a right turn. And I said, hey, you can do it like change through the app itself, right? But he realized when we change through the application, when you can change through the app, that there's more charge to it, and he's like, and he starts scolding me. but you have to do it. That I can then I should be able to right. So he started scolding me like you greedy Asian monkey. You have still the British mindset. You have still colonial mindset, and I'm like, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do with it.
Kick him out.
I can't.
Why not?
If I were to kick him out, I'll be in the wrong by saying I did not complete the path, the thing. So I guess it's like I can't do it.
Kick him out and then drive to the address that he's given you and hit complete. I don't see what the problem is.
I don't know. It's more like oh man, like this white guy.
Because then if they complain, it's like he never took me to the destination. He threw me out before we got there, and then they'd check your GPS and they go, but he went to the destination. Why would he drive to the destination afterwards? After he's dropped you off, that doesn't make any sense. We are rejecting your claim for a refund.
It's an Asian company. Like that. this Asian company customers is always right. They don't do investigation, and then I've done and I was in that situation before, so I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
that's when you join Lyft.
yeah, I don't know. I really don't.
You join Lyft or some other rideshare company. There's plenty out there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were that desperate, you could get a taxi license.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it has been passed for so long, and I feel bad about going back at it right now.
I wouldn't feel bad at all. Somebody's going to start scolding me because they've changed their mind. Out you go. Go on.
I don't know.
Look, there's a bus over there. Grab your shit and get out.
It's just a walk. It's just a 3 minutes walk under the hot sun. Who gives a fuck? And just I wish I've done that. I wish I have the wit enough, like the quick enough wit. Like this is my first time dealing with racism.
Right.
And like look, I'm part of the majority race. People kind of like a cuddle about the majority race itself. Like I'm not part of the minority that people count. That when people say that they're dealing with that with the racism, I could not feel it. I'm not part. I'm not involved. I'm not sure whether they even exist at all until like, you know, there are some person who raise it up, right? So but this is the first time I'm dealing with it. I'm like, okay, so this is how people feel, huh? This is I don't know how to do it.
But it's only some people. This is how some people feel, not all people. You know, I've a friend of mine, Tom Rhodes, has this great bit about how ridiculous racism is, and that how we should be just all sleeping with each other, and mixing, you know, the species until we're all just a shade of gray. You know, it's like, hey Gray, how you doing? I'm good, Gray. Good, nice to see you, Gray. You know, it's all gray. You know, and then we can hate people for the assholes they are, rather than the color of their skin. And that's Tom's one of my favorite bits that Tom Rhodes does.
I don't.
You know, and he's right. He's right. That's I think is one of the keys of comedy, is stating the obvious like we've never heard it before. And it puts us in a position of having to think, and it's like, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I've seen comedy from like I'm not sure if you remember this because you mentioned you watched the TV series titles, right? Like there's this bit about like that there's this whole episode about like his friend is gay.
Yep.
And I remember this bit a lot because it kind of impacted the whole series, the whole episode itself. It brings the whole thing into, it turned the whole into a very into a light episode where he was like saying, maybe we should throw this guy over here and we should try throw and maybe like you should put this group of people over on the left hand side, make sure the right hand side, and then all becomes like a heel sick hand sign where the Nazi thing. And like, oh my god, like that's heavy and really smart at the same time.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Which, oh my god, like I it's still kind of fresh where we have bits like that and just go, fuck, like how does one person even write bits like that?
I think it, you know, you develop an eye for these things. Like you look at Jim Jeffries and the bit that he wrote about gun control. You know, like that's an amazingly cerebral piece of work. You know, the you know, comparing gun control to slave ownership in the 1700s and 1800s or 1700s. You know, no one else had thought to do that. Americans certainly weren't going to think to do it because, you know, that's their history. It's not something that they would sort of immediately look at and go, I think I can make a joke out of that 400 years of forcing black people to toil in our fields and allow us to build our wealth on the backs of their sweat and effort. No, it took an Australian to do that.
Hey, it takes one to know one. Ones need to be.
Yeah,
It's just a different form of enslavement. Is this the word or captivity?
I think Australia has a reputation for being a bit on the racist side.
Oh yeah, there's all.
Yeah, so for an Australian to be in America commenting on America's history of sort of race exploitation and racism, it's a bit sort of pot calling the kettle black there.
Hey, it takes one to know one.
What do you mean takes one to know one?
Like it takes a group of racists to know another group of racists.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I think he might actually say that at one point too. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the bit.
Okay, this is the thing where just like have you seen enough okay, I suppose you have seen, but have you seen so much that you kind of like guess where the whole joke is going? Like because it feels like sometimes there are times where I just want to play a game where I just watch like 5 different comedy special at one shot and just guess the punchlines. Then if I guess the punchline correctly, I'll take a shot. If I don't know, then I'll keep drinking until and see whether I'll be able to finish the 5 specials.
Maybe do it with one special and see how you go. But if you commit to 5, you could end up in hospital.
Oh yeah, that's true. But you know what? I like the challenge.
Yeah, but the other thing though is that the longer you work as a comedian, the more your brain starts to look at things comedically. So that when a premise or a hypothesis is thrown out there, your brain will automatically start going, well, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. Right. And if it's one of those 4 things, then you've kind of predicted what the punchline is going to be. So when I write a joke, I try to come up with 10 punchlines for the premise. And then what I'll do is I'll go through the punchlines and try and pick out the 3 strongest ones that I like. And not necessarily the first punchline that I've come up with, or the second or the third, but hopefully there's other stuff in there that is strong but not as predictable.
Then there's this one thing that goes where it's always a point of view, right? Like your punchline it's a point of view of your premise, right? Like I would guess like that's how I try to write mine. Where it's just like one straight like it's and I think that while watching, you are also trying to guess the comics point. Like if I were to do that game, I would guess that comics point of view as well. And I think we always want to see the point of view going in. Like we want to like know what's the point of view that we want to guess. Like, hey, are we going to see like 10 other similar point of view as well?
Well, hopefully the comedian has explained their point of view in their premise suitably well enough that you understand what it is before you get there to the punchline. I mean,
I suppose that comes with experience as well.
Well, yeah, and it does help that if you're telling the situation of the premise, that you're not having to backtrack and explain other stuff as to why you have, like, it's usually enough to say I hate donuts.
Oh yeah.
You can say I hate donuts, and the reason why I hate donuts is if you felt that in order for the punchline to work, you had to then sit there and go, I hate donuts. You know why? Because when I was a kid, my dad forced me to eat a whole bunch of donuts because he brought home a box of Krispy Kremes and there were 24 in the box. And I thought I could eat one without asking permission. And he caught me and he made me eat the entire box. And then I was sick for days. So now I can't even look at a donut without feeling sick. Like when my dad had hemorrhoids and even the cushion that he had to sit on, I looked at it and just went, ugh. Right? It's you don't need to explain all of the backstory as to why you hate donuts. It's enough. It's enough to just say, I hate donuts. This is how much I hate donuts. Do you know what I mean?
But it'll be fun. Like the problem here, the laugh, because it's how ridiculous you have to go through the whole backstory of why you hate donuts.
Sure, but you know, I've been doing this 20 years, so I mean, I am confident enough in my skills to be able to riff and make up stuff as I go that it's going to be funny. Right? If I put myself in a position where I have to explain the backstory, or if I think the backstory to a particular story is going to be funny, then I will go there, right? And I'm confident that I'll be able to pull it off. But a lot of newer acts that don't have the experience that, you know, guys who have been around as long as I have do, then they end up just telling the backstory as it is with no joke and no real sort of, you know, stage presence when telling the joke. Because if we were to use that joke as an example, right, it's like, you know, a rookie might go, I hate donuts. And the reason I hate donuts is because when I was a kid, my father bought a box of 24 donuts and I ate one without permission, and he forced me to eat it, and it made me really sick. So now I can't really even look at donuts without feeling ill.
Oh man.
So I hate donuts. And here's the punchline to the joke that I've made up. And you don't like that joke? Okay. All right. I hate jokes that don't work. And this is primarily because when I was a kid, my dad brought home a box of 24 jokes, and
oh,
I started.
you're pulling a Stuart Lee again. I guess that's a Stuart Lee joke.
See, you know, if you're around long enough to gain the experience to be able to just sort of bang out something funny, just making stuff up as you go, then you can get away with doing stuff like that. But when you're first starting out, if you're sort of 5 years or under, then you really are taking a big risk.
Well, I'm taking a risk with no with no audience, with no experience, and there's no more career. That's
yeah, potentially. Oh, hey, you can always fall back on Uber driving. You know, you just have to put in some earbuds and stuff and not listen to any of those Eastern European guys who are coming over. Excuse please, I want to change the address for delivery. We go here, okay? We don't go here. You turn right at next intersection, not left. Excuse me, I talk to you. We go right and not left. You are turning left. You are not listening to me. Why you not listen? It's always the same with your Asian people. You live under the great British rule. You pay no attention to Eastern Europeans. This is why nobody like you or your countries.
And that's why I hail my cab with my hands stretched out. Why did you hail your cab with your hands stretched out? This is why.
This is why. This is why.
I don't know. I'm okay. Look, this is one part of me that they just want to know a little bit like a New Zealand the communist scene in New Zealand right now. Like is it still going on, or is it or is it like Singapore's communist scene where it's just almost dying?
No, our comedy scene's doing okay. But we're still in lockdown, level 3 in Auckland at the moment, and level 2 throughout the rest of the country. So there is still social distancing that needs to take place, which affects the number of seats that you can sell for theatres and stuff like that. So, there's not a lot of live shows that are going on at the moment, and nor should there be until such a time as we're able to get this Delta variant sort of under control.
But how are we going back? Like, there's this one question I want to ask, where how are we going back now? How are we going back to doing live shows anymore? Like it feels weird to even have live shows in the next 2 years.
We had live shows for months and months. We had live shows and sold out theaters. And it all came to a sudden and short stop when a community case of COVID was discovered, and it had turned out to be the Delta variant. So the entire country just went straight into level 4, and they then set about tracking down the people who'd been in contact with this person, and then all the people that they'd been in contact with, and there was a couple of hundred people that we were talking about that had been in contact with this guy, or close or casual contact, and all of them had to be quarantined and tested, and we're down to single digits now for new community cases.
Okay.
So
because the number of cases that we have just went crazy. Like it's out of Taylor Swift's relationship handbook.
Now, I need to be careful about what I say here, because I like traveling to Singapore, and I like performing in Singapore, and I don't want to get myself in trouble with the Singaporean government. But I think because Singapore is essentially run like a company, you've got bureaucrats that were sort of looking at the COVID numbers and going, how can we make these COVID numbers better?
Yeah.
And one of them sat there and went, what about if we don't count all the foreign workers that have COVID, and we just kind of lock them away somewhere, and then we only count our own citizens who have COVID, and then the numbers will look much more acceptable.
But now right now we are currently have the reverse like in the initial stages it was like that. And right now we have the reverse version of it.
But do you know why you have the reverse of it?
Initially we had so initially we had this crazy, we have this group of people, right? So we have this thing called the KTVs, the KTV lounges. So when you think of KTV lounges, you would think like the one in Shanghai, not Shanghai, the one with Chris Rock and Chris Rock and not Chris Rock, Jackie Chan and who's that guy? There's a movie that was being
Rush Hour.
The Rush Hour, yes. It's not like the one in Rush Hour.
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker, yes. But you have the imagine like there are rooms, right? With then you have girls coming in, like the hostess bar. Like the hostess will come in and just entertain you. Then they'll go to another room, right? And
karaoke rooms. And
the karaoke room and stuff like that. And things will be done in there, right? They'll be drinking and stuff like that. So apparently some people open up that it was against the regulations to have that, right? But there are some people who open up and does this, and because a group of people just go, hey, you know what? I'm lonely. My wife is no, nah. But still,
I can
Come on.
tell you what's being reported in the news, or at least what I've heard on things like Al Jazeera and that is that foreign workers were held in quarantine hotels and gymnasiums, and even the ones that didn't have COVID ended up catching COVID because it went through the whole place like wildfire. And then they went, well, we need to get rid of these people, so they started exporting them back to their own countries, thereby
What?
spreading COVID sort of around the world. But and of course, these people were leaving via Changi. So
What?
you've got all these people that were coming in that were using the same bathrooms, using the same airline lounges, using the same spaces that people who had COVID who were on the way out.
Wait,
So,
what?
yeah.
What the fuck is Al Jazeera reporting? Like this is not the story that we all have. Like, what the fuck?
Do you really think that a couple of lounge bars opening up are going to lead to the numbers of COVID that you guys have now?
Yes. I think that is possible because because there are it's all walks of life in there, and it
Okay.
kind of like
But
spreads into it
is it
spreads into the wet market as well.
is it more likely to have one space like an airport where you've got people coming in and leaving and potentially infecting each other and then moving all over Singapore than where you've got a large number of people doing that?
They have a case for that as well, right?
Yeah.
They have this story where it was an Indian national, right?
Yep.
Who tried to bring his family over.
Okay.
So this is what I've understood, right? So they brought his family over, and it kind of like spreads in the country itself. And while the last case that before the last one, right? We have the lounge thing where the Delta variant has been going around.
Yeah.
So it's about this. So it kind of like open up a few cases of hotspots.
Yeah.
Because you have like the hawker centers, which is where almost all Singaporeans will go and have food.
The hawker
have, like,
centers were my favorite thing when I was there, man.
Oh yeah.
And the Bak Kut Teh
Oh yeah.
restaurant in Clarke Quay. Oh my god, that's my favorite place.
There are better places out there. That's
I'm sure they do, but that was my favorite place because I was working in Clarke Quay. So to be able to work and then go to the Bak Kut Teh place and have the beef tea, and then next just down from there was a ramen noodle house.
Oh yeah.
And I was there with John Robertson. We went in, we ordered like a ramen noodle that came with a pork chop and an egg, and they said it was going to take like 20 minutes. So we sat down at the booth, and at the booth they had boiled eggs that you can snack on. Right? Yeah. Boiled eggs that you can snack on. Yeah. I've never seen this before. And I love me some boiled eggs. So, of course, there were like 8 eggs in the basket. So I ate those. And then I sort of indicated, I said, we're actually out of eggs. Do you have any more eggs? And they went, oh, yeah, sure. So they brought over another basket of eggs. So I ate those. And then I said, do you have any more eggs? And they sort of looked at me like, what are you doing with all these eggs? So they brought over another basket of eggs. So I ate those eggs. So I'd already had 24 eggs by the time like the ramen arrived. They put the ramen down with another basket of eggs. And I looked at the ramen and I went, can you put this in a takeaway bowl, please?
Oh man, have you tried the potato salad though?
Have I tried potato salad? Yeah.
No, as in their potato salad as well, like their potato
salad.
Ramen, yeah, the ramen place. Yes.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should try if I'm not sure whether they still have it. Because they just renovated the place. I'm not even sure whether they are still running. Because there's a few places that closed down as well. Yeah. So but I remember going in there, taking their potato salad, taking their fermented bean sprouts,
Fermented beef
tastes
crust,
which tastes really really good, and they were like just keep bringing bowls of it, and then and I remember finishing tubs of it. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna return. I'm gonna go back to a little bit of your backstories. Because you mentioned that you were a private investigator, and after like being a after being a like, okay, I want to ask, like, what's the most common cases of private that you have done? Or how do you even get the gig of being like a private investigator?
So I started off working for the courts as what's called a process server. So anytime someone had been taken to court and documents needed to be served by the court, they would contact me, and then I would go out and deliver them to the person at the address which they'd supplied. So that's how I started off. I started off as a process server, and then as part of working as a process server, I was working for another private investigator who then said, well, you know, you're actually doing really well at this job. I need to teach you how to find people, so that, you know, when the courts say we need to serve this document, when the lawyers say we've got a document that needs to be served, they can give it to us and we can find the person, and then we can charge them for the amount of time taken to find the person, as well as a fee for going out and serving them. So he taught me how to find people that didn't always want to be found.
Okay.
Because you have people that were being taken to court for bankruptcy.
All right.
And the longer that they can avoid being made bankrupt, you know, the better it is for them. So they would actively be hiding or deny who they were. So then we'd need to find sort of sneaky ways of finding out, one, where they were, two, what they looked like, three, why they would be trying to avoid service in the first place. You know, so
are you able to review like just maybe like one small tip on how do you find that person? Because I've done documentary research and
okay. Look, I'm going to tell you one, but the only reason I'm telling you is because it's not really applicable anymore.
Okay.
But back in the day, one of the tricks that we used to use is we would phone up video stores.
Okay.
Do you remember video stores? Right. They started off with video cassettes, and then they moved into DVDs, and you could go along and you could rent the DVDs and stuff. So whenever you moved house, one of the first things that you would do is you would go to your local video store and sign up and join them, so that, you know, on the weekends, if you wanted a particular DVD or video, you could go and rent it out.
Yeah.
So if we had a general idea of where someone was living, we would then ring up video stores, and like, let's say it was Blockbuster Video, for example, right? We'd ring up Blockbuster Video in St. Heliers, and we'd say, hello, Blockbuster Video St. Heliers, this is Blockbuster Video Manurewa here. Yeah, we've just had this guy come in and sign up with us. He says that he's a member with you guys in St. Heliers. Do you have this name on your database? And they would then search their database and go, yes, yeah, we have this guy. It's like, okay, cool. The address that he has given us is blah, 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 St. Heliers. Is that correct? And they would go, no, the address we've got is da-da-da-da-da-da address. And I go, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll have to check it with him when we next see him. How long has he been a member with you guys? And go, oh, no, he's only been here for like 2 months. And has he moved already? And we go, yeah, he's moved already. So you can cancel that membership. Did he have anything outstanding? And they're like, oh, he just hired a couple of movies the other night. Has he come down to you guys? Geez, these guys don't think, do they? They don't think. So of course, they would close his account and then hit him with a fine for the DVDs.
Oh, okay.
And we would have his new address, so we'd drive out there and give him his legal documents. And of course, when he went to go and drop off the DVDs, they'd be sitting there going, "There's a fine for that because you've changed."
Without telling, without notifying.
You're planning on moving out to Manurewa. He's like, "I'm not moving to Manurewa. We got a call from Manurewa saying that you were moving out there."
Oh man.
And then of course they'd ring Manurewa Blockbuster and they go, "Do you have an application from this guy?" And they go, "Don't know who you're talking about, mate."
Oh man, this is so, like how does it go through all the time? Like how, what was the percentage rate? Like has it backfired at all?
Nope. No, I would say if you weren't able to locate them off of doing a credit check, then you had, or we were getting maybe an 85% strike rate on a new address just by calling up local video stores.
Ooh, okay. For me, if I were to find a person, sometimes most of the time I realize how much I can find through the internet right now, like using social media.
Yeah. Bear in mind, like the internet's only really been around since the late 90s.
Yeah. So
and even then, a lot of the information on there was not personal information. And the information that you were looking for, particularly addresses and stuff, there was a lot of reverse phone books. So you could type in a phone number and it would give you the name and address of the person that phone number was registered to. Then they brought in the Privacy Act, and you were no longer able to have those resources. So they were all cleansed. They were all scrubbed from the internet.
I don't know, like because I'm comparing notes, like I'm comparing like then and now, because I just did a documentary research for like 2 years ago, and I'm like, I'm like, oh my god, like how much information I can find online, and the amount of personal information I can find online that's so easy right now. It's like the internet is now the video store.
Yeah, well, I did a show, I think it was in 2006, maybe 2007, where the host of the show gave me 24 hours to find out as much information about him as I could as a private investigator. So, and then I got to meet with him 24 hours later. And when I met with him, I had his full name, a copy of his birth certificate. I had his bank account details. I had his bank account balances. I had conducted interviews with his friends using a subterfuge and found out that he went through a yellow food only phase where he would only eat yellow food. I had stories from when he was in school. I had I needed another 48 hours to get a copy of his educational certificates because we had to order them in. They were being mailed as opposed to being emailed back then. So.
Oh my god! Like there's a lot of information, right? And I don't know exactly how would anyone use that information after that.
Well, I mean, for me, I put on a high-vis vest and carried a clipboard, and then knocked on the front door of his house and spoke to his flatmates and told them that I was there from the council and that I had to check the property.
Oh yeah.
Because they were looking at a gas main going in, so I had to check the property to make sure that it was going to be safe to tunnel underneath, which then got me access to inside the house. And while I was in there, because I had my camera out, they had bills, like they had their bank statements and stuff were up on the refrigerator with magnets. So I photographed them. So, and off of the statements, I could see where they'd gone to spend their money.
Okay.
And it gave me their account numbers, it gave me their balance, it gave me who they banked with, it gave me what their credit card details were.
Oh my god! Does it scare you? Does it scare you with the amount of information you can find out?
Yes.
But
absolutely.
but you have not gone to hiding. Like you have, it's a brave new world out there.
Oh, make no mistake, if I felt so inclined, I could disappear because I know what they would look for when trying to find me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
you know,
do you have the thought like once in a while just go, okay, this is wild, like I guess I'm going to do it right now.
no, I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing. I'm out of that line of work now. Now I can tell jokes for a living.
Oh yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So other than private investigator, like what other jobs have you done? Like do you have any other professions before being like a stand-up?
Yes.
That's as weird as private investigator.
I was a soldier.
Okay.
I was a prize fighter for a while. So yeah, I was the Australasian super heavyweight Muay Thai kickboxing champion in '92, and then had an invite to go and fight in K1 in Japan in '93, which I declined.
But why is it like what? I just picked up boxing as well. So the whole idea of like the whole world behind fighting is so new and fresh.
It was back then, you know. Like I mean, I only needed to fight 3 people because no one else was fighting in my weight class at that time.
How? What was the weight class then?
Super heavyweight. So I was 115 kilos and above.
Okay, but because I barely hit 90-ish now, and then I'm thinking about like what are, and recently like my friend just went into like a fight, kind of like a sparring kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I saw this 100 kg super heavyweight fight. They are very efficient. That's all I can say. Like there's this one guy who goes in 3 punches and the thing was over.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of mass. There's a lot of mass and a lot of kinetic energy being transferred. See, but I was always fortunate in that even though I was a big dude, I was quite light on my feet, and I was faster than someone my size should be.
But do you like like I suppose like you got out before you got out before, but in how many years time, like why do you get out then?
I got out because because of the invite from K1.
Okay.
You know, had I pursued it, then I would have spent my career getting my head dented for a living. And I didn't like that idea. I thought there's got to be better ways to sort of get by in the world without sort of being smacked around the face with other people's feet and fists.
But I suppose you do it recreation. Do you still doing it like do you still do it recreationally, like at the point of time, like maybe like exercise for like use it like an exercise regime? Do you?
This is not the body of someone who exercises, mate. This is the body of someone who eats pies and watches sunsets with their feet up.
It's like a few years, like after quitting K1, right? After stopping from K1, you still do it like for a couple of years?
Well, no. Basically, what happened was I maintained my level of physical fitness by joining the army after that. And then I was injured in the military. I injured both ankles and my lower back. So I was medicaled out.
Which unit we were in? Which unit? Which
infantry?
Infantry. All right.
Infantry. So it was army. Yeah, so I'd sort of damaged both my ankles, broken both my ankles, and damaged my lower back, which then meant that I wasn't fully fit to continue being a soldier. It also meant that for a while I was sort of incapable of running.
Okay.
And then in 2016, I was hit by a car and was pinned to a wall by that car, and it crushed both my legs. And since then, I haven't really been able to sort of move as much as I would like. And as a result, I've gained more weight, and it's more difficult to sort of, get around and stuff. And then just over a year ago, I sort of overstepped my bounds a little bit, and I fell and broke 2 bones in my foot. So I'm now currently recovering from that, and it's all sort of adding up to, it's nature's way of saying you're an old man. Rein it in a bit. Give it a rest.
I'm now fearing like at what point do I have to look, I got to stop. I got to like when is the right time to go? You know what? It's just not my fault that I don't want to be fit after all. It's just not my fault. It's just God's way of telling me you got to stop.
Yeah.
This is like the Make-A-Wish kid in the COVID-19 situation.
Exactly. There's only so many ways that God can tell you to slow down.
I don't know. Like it's just kind of like scary to think about like when will I be that when will I stop when will I stop doing the thing I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to end this conversation in a very weird way. Thank you for doing this.
You are very welcome, man. It's good to see you.
I do not
see you again. It's been years.
It's been years. Like it's a weird. Like I'm just surprised. Like I don't know. I'm just surprised that I didn't get you on. Like because I thought I had you in the roster, but I didn't have you in the roster. And I'm looking through and I didn't got you in the roster as well, which is a shame.
So we're here now.
Yeah,
I'm still going. Yeah, still working.
All right. Thank you for doing this.
You're very welcome, my friend. Anytime.
Yeah. All right.